Alright, YouTube, it is bright and early Monday morning. I'm about to go leave to go to college, but thought I would tell you what I got done last night. The engine is mounted. It is now holding itself up. There's no more jack stands or jacks leveling it out, supporting it, whatnot. The braces are not done, but this is plenty enough to move it around the yard. Basically what I have is this little adapter that goes from the subframe to the frame of the golf cart. Like I said, everything needs to be beefed up, but piece of angle iron going into the existing subframe mount, the 2x2 box tubing going into the existing subframe mount, goes over, same thing on that side, it's mirrored. This one goes out, this piece of box tubing, and mounts to the end of the golf cart frame. That is a very tight fit between that and the heater, so I need to tweak something. Gives me plenty of suspension travel as well. I need to trim this one back though. Other side's how I want it. So that's welded on all sides right there. Then on this side, under the main support, we have box tubing coming straight up and being welded once again to the thick frame of the golf cart. So that's two good points of contacts. What I want to do to beef it up is run some bars here to here and then here to here. And I think that'll suffice. But the suspension still does work if I don't knock my battery off. It's only with 1 foot, so I can't really make it move that much, but you get the picture. Let's see what else happened. I didn't get it running per se, but I did get it to get ignition, and it has a rebuilt carburetor. This is going to be a bear, it always is. I don't know why it's so hard to take off that, what do they call them? Their oil drips down over the filter medium, but it's one of those oil-based filters. But rebuilt the carburetor, but I have no gas lying around, so I gotta go get gas tonight. And we have ignition, although it's the original plug wires, so take that as you will. But it is getting good spark. I also need to set the ignition timing. I don't think that's right, but I haven't looked up how to do it yet for these. Basically, this thing is popping and sputtering and carrying on, but it isn't running. You know, it'll puff out the carburetor, it'll puff out the exhaust, just depending on how it's feeling. But it's not running yet. So, but that's fine. I didn't want it to run yet. I wanted it to be mounted. She's pretty big, as you can see. I mean, we're probably getting about to the dimensions of the Beetle, to be real honest. But this is an old golf cart from the late 70s. You can see that pretty beefy steering suspension setup in the front. So, I think it'll be fine. Metal body panels. Things that still have to be done, I have to hook up hydraulic brakes. I'm not going to put any front brakes on it because I can't be bothered. I'm going to just use the original Beetle backing plates, get new wheel cylinders, and, you know, shoes, that kind of stuff. So I need a master cylinder up here. I'm going to use the original gas pedal there to hook to the throttle linkage, which comes through that pipe sticking out of the fan shroud next to the oil cooler. Well, I guess you can't see the oil cooler, it's in there. It ties in right here at the bottom of this linkage right there. So, got to hook up the gas pedal, got to put brakes on it, but brakes are going to be the last step. And then I need a clutch. Going to probably use something off of one of the old Beetle pedals, just, you know, as a starting point. Obviously mount it where clutches go. Here's my clutch linkage. So I got to run a cable back. Then I got to make a shifter linkage. Just looking at the rusted remains of the Beetle at the junkyard, there didn't seem to be any sort of funky gearbox or adapter, if you will, that turned the H pattern or whatever these had into a something the transmission recognizes. So I'm thinking about running a shaft all the way forward, supporting it, and then just having it come up so I can slide it back and forth like it does in the transmission, and then put it where I need to go. But we'll see if that works. But that is about it. I am starting a 6-volt system with the 12-volt battery, but I'm not being too hard on it. I am going to crank it over longer than you might if it was a good running car, but it hasn't blown up yet, and plus this is all stuff I got out of a junkyard, so, you know, whatever. Got to get some new tires for the back. They look to be a bit of an odd size. I haven't run across something quite that thin but tall, so hopefully that isn't too expensive. Also got to figure out which is the nicest rims out of I know that rim back there is not. That's definitely not going on back on this. Gonna leave the stock golf cart tires on the front. All I gotta do is take my 2 Volkswagen wheel caps and find a way to attach them. Put my Volkswagen emblems as well as the 1300 engine decal somewhere up here. This is a 1300 from 1966. It's still a 6-volt engine. It came out of a 70 Super Beetle, so somebody had some fun there. But yeah, I suppose the next thing, because I have been rambling for 6 minutes, I should just see if it wants to sputter with this, well, it is bad gas. A little bit down the intake ain't gonna hurt. It ain't like it's going in the jets and the bowl and all that crap. It's salvage gas from lawnmowers and whatnot. Pop the choke. Okay, it's down there. Alright. We have ignition, and now I need a screwdriver to jump it. And YouTube, I'm going to switch hands with the camera real quick. Okay. You're now on my left hand. That's all you do to jump it. Just touch those two to turn on the actual positive, and this lead on top of the solenoid. Say it's that easy. When it makes connection, it's very easy. Sometimes it carries on more than other times. I really like it when it's puffing out of the exhaust. It kind of seems like a better sign to me than coming out of the intake, but we'll see. Obviously I need some fuel though, but that proves at least that we have ignition and it has the potential to run. There's still much work needs to be done to it. As far as battery and fuel goes, I'm going to knock out this inner fender because I don't have a fender or a wheel well there anymore. Knock that out, sink the battery down in here, and do the same thing, knock that side out, put the fuel tank over there, so that this can hopefully be usable space. Whether that ends up being some sort of somewhat watertight, waterproof storage, or maybe some more fun stuff like a onboard air supply for tools. That'd be fun too, but we'll see. All that's later. I just got to get it up and running first. But yeah, that's about it. That's where we're at. And it is getting pretty big. I need to build a brush bar for the front, as well as somewhere to mount a winch. And I have the Beetle's bumper, which as you can see is pretty nasty there in the middle. Got bent as well as got burnt. So I'm probably going to cut it, shorten it, put in some sort of flat top to it, brace it really well, and put a tow ball on it. So that'll go, obviously, maybe that could go on the front. I don't know. I haven't decided. Whatever fits it. The only other thing I'll mention about this is I'm going to put on a bed on the back. That's why I left this square stock uncapped, and it's also level with this and this. These are like a 18th or a 16th off of each other, so whatever, that's just sheet metal. The plan is to put a bed on this, although I have that engine there, and the engine sticks up higher than the sheet metal work. So then what can I do? I can either put the bed up high, have a high center of gravity, and no one wants that, or I can keep the bed low and then just not use the back. So I'm going to opt for that because also it's kind of different and cool. I'm going to have a side loading bed, meaning that the tailgate is going to be right here. So flips down over the wheel. You have this much room to work on the tailgate and load stuff from the side. It's different in certain applications. It's probably not going to be as convenient, but I have $30 in this, so I can deal with a little inconvenience here and there. Also need to try to continue some of the sheet metal out. I don't know how technical I'm going to get, but I thought about picking up some fenders from Agri Supply or Tractor Supply. They sell a lot of sheet metal for trailers. You can buy a trailer fender for both single or dual tires, and then I could tack that up and make it look good. But we'll see. I'm getting ahead of myself. I need to get it good and running, and then have things like gauges, clutches, brakes before I really start worrying about how it looks, I suppose. That's it. That was the 2-day project. This is the progress we made. I would put it outside, but it has been raining in North Carolina non-stop this fall. The ground is just so wet, I can't do anything. But it'll go back outside soon. I'll cover the engine up and then roll it back in next weekend to work on it. So that's it.